Okay, so we're coming back to the chair now. So because it's a bit cold in here, the metal chairs get a bit cold, so I'm just putting a blanket on there. But be careful if you've got a blanket on your chair, because you don't want it to slip. So I'm just going to take a brick. Now just watch where I'm putting my elbows. I'm putting my elbows in this way so that the back of the arms go down. Can you see the back of the arms go down? Now it doesn't mean to say I drop my belly. I want to lift the abdomen and move myself back. Push up with the arms and just rest the forearm down. See that you push, you're trying to push, can you see in the palms? You're trying to push the brick up, and at the same time release the shoulders down. So it is quite a heavy arm action. Now, what you're going to do is to see, can you bring those arms back so that they are extending towards the back shoulder area. So just see that you are extending and bringing those arms into this action. Now they might not go all the way, or if they go too easily, it means to say you haven't got enough resistance with the back of that upper arm. So just be there for a moment or two. And then releasing. Okay, so quite a challenge. You might want to practice that a couple of times just to get some mobility in those shoulders. All right, so we're going to move the chair away. Don't need the chair at the moment. All right, so what we're going to do now is to lie in a prone position. I want you to just have a look at this action. So you're just going to lie in this prone position like this, and then fold your arms, it's very nice, and release here like this. Now you want to see that you reach those legs back. See, I'm tucking the toes under to reach the legs back a little bit more, so you're in this position, and breathe. Okay, so now you're going to reach the arms out in front of you like this. So you're reaching the left arm, the right arm, the left arm, the right arm. And now see that you try to let the shoulders really deepen that action towards the floor. So you just want that area to release. Okay, and now release it. Okay, so you're going to come onto your forearms now, like this. So already you can see that your chest is open. So you're just going to see that the dorsal spine, we did a little bit of that twisting, which is really quite helpful for this. But you want to press into your forearms and move the dorsal spine in. You want to see you lift these collarbones and lift up. And then release it. Release the onto your forearms again. Just be there for a moment. All right, so now we're going to come for Salabhasana. Now I'm going to show you a way which is really, really helpful. So you're going to have the belt like this. You take it behind you, and then see, can you take the thumbs into the belt? So the belt is looped in this way. Just rest the head for a moment. So just wait for you all to catch up with that. Now, when we lift up, your head is lifted. You're going to see, can you lift the chest only? Lift the chest a little bit more and then release it down. And then again, once more, press into the thumbs, into the belt and dorsal spine, and release Okay, now this time, press into the thumbs and lift the legs and the chest at the same time. So press into the thumbs, lift the head, lift the chest, lift in those legs at the same time, and then release in. Okay, well done. All right, so releasing the belt. Okay, so we're going to come into Adho Mukha Svanasana now. So you want to come up onto all fours in this position. Take the hands underneath the shoulders and now reach in those legs, pulling up the kneecaps and thighs and extending up. And breathe. So lifting the buttocks so much, lifting through the front body, extending. And then releasing down. Okay, so our next part of the sequencing is coming into a supine action, which I'm sure you'll all quite enjoy. All right, and so similar thing, we're going to reach the legs. Now, see if you can fold those arms and take them above your head. Now, if that's a job, then get a bolster or some cushions or some support and rest the forearms onto some support behind your head. Now, see that you walk those legs away from you in that way and ground down into those forearms. Draw the abdomen towards the spine and be there. Be sure that the side seams of the waist are extending towards the floor. Okay, and then release them. All right, so what we're going to do now is take the legs to 90 degrees. Now, it might be that you need to have a belt. All right, so bending your knees into the chest and then extending the legs up. So you might need to have a belt for this action. Let the abdomen soften, broaden across the toes, extend through the legs. Now, for those of you who can, see if you can extend your arms above the head. Can you extend your arms above the head? Let the abdomen soften, extend the legs in this way. And then releasing. So don't worry if you were staying with your hands in this position. This is how we learn things, is to go in stages. Really important. Okay, bend the knees into your chest and releasing. So have another look at the screen. I'm going to take the arms out to the sides in this way. Reach it nicely. And then I'm going to take the legs into the abdominal area so you can see this. Now, if it's difficult, then you can fold your legs to where they will fold. Don't worry if there's a knee issue, then you can be in this position too. All right, so you're going to take the legs over towards your right side, keeping that left shoulder down, keeping the left shoulder down, letting this action come to the side. And then bringing the legs back up. And then come to the other side. So hopefully you're working with me now. Make sure that that right shoulder is down. Left shoulder is obviously weighted by the leg action. So you've got to keep that right shoulder down. Be there. And then bring the legs back and place the feet on the floor. Soft inhalation, exhalation. Okay, so sitting in Dandasana. Now, how I'd like you to do this is to sit on a couple of foam pads, because this way you can really get a height in the spine, and this is what you want to achieve here, is this area to lift up. And how do we do that? Well, we've got to see, we bend the knees slightly and see if you can put a little bit of pressure on the heels to draw back into the front body. Put your hand onto the foam pads and lift your chest. Be in this position. And just get used to supporting and following your spine. Just get used to that action. Okay, so we're going to change this slightly. So I'm going to have a belt now. So we're going to take the legs slightly apart to the outer edges of the mat and place your belt around the balls of the feet. So the balls of the feet. You want to see that you're in this position. Holding on to the belt and pulling up, lifting up. Get in this action. Pull the kneecaps up. Soft inhalation, exhalation. Keep that lift. Pull the kneecaps and thighs. So now you're getting used to getting that connection of how important it is for the pelvis to receive the legs. They come really back in. The skin fibers have got to lengthen. All of this becomes really, really important. So this time when we do, you're going to hold on to the belt and keep that lift and walk along the belt and see, can you get still that extension in the anterior spine? So you've got to imagine the spine's got two faces. One's on the back near the skin and one's facing inside. And you want to get both of those parallels working really nicely together. Now, some of you may be able to go a little bit forward, edge your way forward and be a little bit closer in this way. If you can touch those toes, then do so, but keep the integrity, keep the back nice and straight. But otherwise, just stay hold of your belt. All right, and then release completely. All right, so coming off of your foam pads now, I want you to find a bolster. If you've got a bolster or a couple of cushions, or you can make a bolster. Let me just show you this way of making a bolster. You can either just roll your mat. So you can either just roll it like this, and this makes a really nice bolster. It's really nice and firm. Or you can place a blanket inside to make it a really nice, slightly fatter bolster. So this is quite nice too. So you can come into this action. There you go. So you can see it's really quite well padded, quite nice. So you make a bolster. In fact, sometimes I prefer working with this firmness because it's not so squashy as a bolster. So you can either do this with a blanket inside or just by your mat by itself. All right, so you're just going to have that along your mat in this way. And then we're just going to place a couple of foam pads here, and then you just sit on the bolster. Sit on the bolster and then release down in this way. So you want to see that the shoulders are hitting the floor. So you want the shoulders to reach down to the floor and just keep the legs bent for a moment. Just let the whole body find that connection in the dorsal spine. So the beauty of having a rolled mat is it kind of cuts into a groove right between the shoulder blades, which is really nice where we want it. Now, if your back's happy and okay, let the side waist drop to the spine side and then extend the feet onto the foam pads in this way. So you've got to really work at relaxing those shoulders down. Relaxing those shoulders down. So keeping this awareness, understanding, keeping that really nice opening of the chest. So this pose you could quite easily stay in for a couple of minutes or more. So it's one of those poses that is so effective on the upper body, and when you come out of it, it's really a nice feeling of being free. So I want you to just be there for a couple of moments to just observe the breath, observe the inhalation and exhalation, and just be sure that the top body, so the abdominal area, upper and lower, just release down towards the spine, keeping that really nicely softening and relaxing. So if there are any niggles in the lower back, then you need to bend your knees and put your feet onto the floor and just again let the front groins soften and release. So we're not going to be in it too long in the video. However, if you're having such a nice time and you repeat the video several times this week, then just see if you can up the time in it. See if you can stay in there, the pose another 30 seconds or another minute, whatever it might be. All right, so what I want you to do now is to roll to your right side and come into a seated position. Come into a seated position. All right, so we're going to come for Shavasana. So when we come for Shavasana, we want to see that we've got a blanket nicely. And then we're going to lie back in this position. Now you're all familiar with this. I don't want you to skip it. Do not skip this pose. All right. I'll be asking you questions next week. So if you miss it, you won't know the answers. All right, so extending the legs. If you need to put the feet up onto a support or bolster underneath the thighs or the back of the calves onto a chair, then do so. Close your eyes, let the back body find the earth. And let the eyes soften. So when you're in this pose, I want you to see that you start to relax, and you've got to remember that if you start worrying about what you need to do, what's been happening, all the rest of it, you won't get that really nice holiday, you know, that mental break that you need. So just let the eyes release into the body. You've got to see that the eyes just soften deeply within. So you're not holding any glance on anything. You just want the eyes to just draw back and then soften the facial features, soften the throat, and let the shoulders, even though we think we've relaxed, just question, are you relaxed in those back shoulders, or do you need to just let them drop again? Let the upper abdomen release. Soften the lower belly. And let the legs roll from inside out. And now just observe your inhalation. Now I want you to observe the inhalation and the exhalation. Now we're going to start with a normal inhalation and exhalation. Normal inhalation and a slightly longer exhalation. So the exhalation will just continue for a few more moments. So as you breathe in and release the breath, we start then the observations, firstly with a normal inhale, and then the exhalation exhales for just a few more moments longer than it would normally work. So see that you inhale, exhale, and a slightly longer exhalation will come. So just follow this sequence in and do several. Slightly longer exhalation, just a few more moments. Okay, let the breath now come back to a regular inhale and exhale. Okay, so now we're going to concentrate on that inhalation. So we're going to extend the inhalation just for a few more moments. So a normal inhale, a normal exhalation, then a soft, slow inhalation. So breathe in a few more seconds longer than you would normally practice. And then let the breath, you're not really observing the exhalation, just let that breath go. And follow again. See that you follow this sequence in a soft, slow inhalation, slightly longer, just a few more seconds, and then let the exhalation be a regular breath. Of course, the breath will be different because you've practiced some yoga today, so your breath won't be like how it was in the very beginning. So one more go, normal inhalation, normal exhalation, and then a slightly longer inhale. And then let the breath release. And let everything release. Let the breath find its own path now. And you'll notice that your observations will be different. Maybe your mindset's slightly deeper. And it's not so easy for those thoughts to come in, just drifting in. Just if they do, let them drift in, let them drift out. So for those of you who'd like to stay in your Shavasana today, or in your own practice area, then do so. But otherwise, just really slowly now roll to your right side. Just pause there for a moment, and then when you're ready, come into a seated position. Lifting up through the spinal column, and just waiting for a moment before you get on with any tasks or dealing with any situations. Just pause, just take that moment. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the class and look forward to seeing you on the live stream next week. Namaste.